Just start talking.
We probably should.
I mean, I could just completely silent for hours and see how well that brings viewers in.
Yeah, I don't think that would do the trick. English?
I'm gonna try for next time. I'll write a script of silence and we'll see how it goes. But
Oh. Uh, um, okay. Yeah, definitely. We use it every game.
art to this random aggregator of people's opinions. What's the point?
The point is so we can see how our opinions vary from theirs, etc.
I like it, and I like the confidence. But there's another reason that I'm thinking of too. It's because the gaming industry uses Metacritic in a real concrete way as well. Did you know that a lot of games and the development teams have bonuses tied to whether a score breaks a certain Metacritic rating?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more common. I knew this from back in the day, as some regular viewers know. I'm a huge Fallout fan, and Fallout New Vegas, produced by Obsidian, had a bonus tied to a Metacritic rating. Now, because Bethesda had loaned out the rights for Fallout New Vegas for Obsidian to make the title, they were going to give Obsidian a bonus if it hit 90 on Metacritic. And there was all this work, and they were given these short deadlines to turn this game over. Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorite games ever. However, it hit an 89 on the Metacritic, so they did not get their bonus. And it's one of
Damn.
those things that you just feel like that. I know that Obsidian, they never said anything bad about Bethesda, but there was a certain obvious, really, between the two studios because of that. And I only bring it up because, spoilers, we're playing Mafia 3 tonight. And
Yes.
Mafia 3 had a similar arrangement.
Huh.
They had to hit 80 in order to get their bonuses. And there's a lot of talk about why this game came out the way that it did, and what kind of controversy about the rating and how it influenced the developers. It ended up not mattering in the long end, and we'll see that later on. But I just was curious about what you really thought about something like that affecting people's money, because it bothers me. I don't like the idea that you have an entire community of people who are not regulated by industry who affect something as important as people's income.
Yeah, that's really interesting because the thing about it is that from what I'm sorry because I've been trying to pay attention to what's happening here and also listen to you at the same time, but from what I understand, it was only bonuses, or was it they were only given bonuses based on if they hit these numbers. It wasn't like their base pay was affected, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like that's okay actually, because if you are putting a game together, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you want to make it the best game you can, obviously if you make a really good game, you're going to get good reviews, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of okay with developers earning bonuses based on how good their game is. I'm really okay with that actually.
Okay, that's fair. I guess what bothered me was that you have this path towards the common denominator. If you're always trying to please the majority of critics, then you may fall and you may not focus on your artistic vision, and you may instead
Maybe.
just go, what does everyone like? We'll just do that.
I wonder if these like do they tell them about the bonuses before the game comes out? Like, oh hey, by the way, or is it just like, oh, you made a good game. If it gets XYZ amount, then cool, here's your extra money. But if it's like an incentive, I feel like that in that case maybe what you're saying is true. Like perhaps they're not focused on whatever. They're just trying to hit the things that they know reviewers look for and are, you know, typically happy with in a game rather than making it the game that
Yeah.
they want to make. But if it's after the game's done and it comes out and then the reviews start rolling in and the developers are like, okay, or whatever, the distributors are like, you'll get a bonus at this point, then that's a different story. But if it's one of these things, it's like, you know, got to get these good reviews, make the best game possible. Here's some extra money if you do. Like, I feel like
I think that's kind of more what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of iffy about that. But if it's the other way, if it's like the game is finished and then they're like, oh, you made a really good game. Here, you'll get extra money if it does this, then that's different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
so I'm not... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's, we're starting the game. We're obviously playing it already, so let's see how it affects it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to adjust the volume settings, if that's even an option here. So if you're having trouble hearing us right now, I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll adjust when we can.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm gonna plow forward and say, viewers, do us a favor and rate this transition to the beginning of the show out of 100. If it helps, Lauren's bonus is tied to an 80 or above. So while we wait on those reviews to come in, Lauren, who are you?
I am Lauren, aka Caustic Sofa, and who are you, Tony?
I am Tony, aka Paradox.
That's right, and we're the open world action adventure story-driven sequel being gamers, and today we're trying to get one trophy in Mafia 3.
Mafia 3 is the AAA offering from August 2018 PS Plus free downloads for the PS4. Every month, we see a standout freebie, and this month, we're getting it in the form of the third title in the Mafia trilogy.
Did you know that I can't figure out where to set the sound options in this game?
Possibly you can't, which
I don't think you can.
Shitty.
Yeah. Real shitty. That's right. I will be playing Mafia 3, unaware of what awaits me. Tony will be joining me as the show's game expert, and he will be guiding me, if necessary, towards this episode's trophy goal.
We here at Two Gamers One Trophy don't just review all of the free PS Plus titles each month. We like to add a little extra trophy challenge. For Mafia 3, we're doing a targeted trophy, which means Lauren will be going after one specific trophy. In this case, something I've got to do, a bronze level trophy.
That's right. So we invite all our live viewers to join in the Twitch chat and let us know if you're playing along or tell us your impressions of the game. We'll probably talk to you. And for those of you joining later on YouTube, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. No more delay. We start gameplay a few minutes ago. Kind of jumped the gun there.
That's okay. You know, honestly, it may seem like we move quickly through this game because while I do try and time a trophy appropriately to approximately 2 hours of coverage, the first trophy that makes sense to get in this game, it takes a minute. So it's good that you've plowed ahead.
Okay, well, okay.
We should get going.
So I'm going to jump off and point out the potential elephant in the room, at least it was in a lot of critic circles. You're playing as a black man.
Uh-huh.
In the South. In the 1960s.
I did notice the little disclaimer at the front about how they included like the racism or whatever, which I'm torn about that disclaimer. Like, it's cool that they're willing to include the racism because that was like, you know, you can't whitewash history like that. Like, you have to put in things that actually happened. And I'm a history minor. Like, this happened, and like to not include it would be ridiculous. But so I'm grateful they've done that. But I think it's kind of ridiculous that they needed to include that disclaimer because people would be like, "Oh, this game is racist." No, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, when I saw the disclaimer, and for those who don't know, who didn't see it, it's basically just a text box that says, you know, we're including the racism because we feel we have to.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of two things. It's either like, and I'm dating myself a little bit, Michael Jackson's Thriller music video, where there was a disclaimer in front of the video from Michael Jackson that was like, "Hey, BTW, I don't believe in a cult. This is just for funsies."
Right.
I might be paraphrasing there. I was honestly, it was one of those things that felt like, is this something you really need to put in? Are people so dense that they're not going to get this is not your personal sort of opinion? And that's how I felt when I read that. I felt like that seems like you're either treating everyone like they're a real dum-dum, or you're trying to kind of self-congratulate yourself of, oh, we really felt the need to include because we're so enlightened.
Yeah.
Both ways, I felt kind of icked out by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, I totally agree with you. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry. Sorry. Tattoo is itching. Can't scratch it. Life is rough, guys.
Tattoo, that's right.
Evacuating the civvies for Charlie overran everything.
We're the tatted gamers.
I'm the tatted gamer. I don't know what you are.
Yeah, but we're a team, so what you have, I have.
Oh, okay. I see how that works. Oh, I'm cool with that.
Tells you you can only bring one thing on.
You know, had the game just included it's not just story that is sort of touching on racism.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll see that very overtly. But had the game done its mechanics, which I'll go into a little bit in a second, I would have been fine with it. But it's the calling out that I think is obnoxious.
Yes. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, but I thought you gonna
So about the mechanics, because honestly, you're not going to get to see it, because this is a huge open world game, and you're only going to get to see sort of a tutorial slash first level chunk of it. So as you progress in the game and you go into different areas of the city, you actually get to experience mechanically the racism. As you go into the white, affluent neighborhoods, you will be called out by the cops very quickly for any sort of misstep of traffic or a violent activity. But if you're in a poor or black neighborhood, it'll take a long time for the cops to show up.
Interesting.
You know, and I think that that's fun. I think that's a great way of sort of showing and not telling what racism did in a format that I think is easily digestible to people, you know, video game mechanics. So that, to me, I like.
Yeah. I mean, and I can see that so this is the 60s, right?
Yep.
So it seems like, I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is necessarily true or if it's just something that maybe it's only true in big cities, I don't know, but it seems to me that, like, yeah, like, okay, a cop would respond to a white neighborhood first because obviously white people matter more, like, we care about whatever. You know, I mean, not in my brain, but like in 1960s America, in the South especially, maybe.
If you'd like to put a disclaimer in front of your conversation, we can stop.
Hi, disclaimer, I'm not racist. But no, I just wonder, like, nowadays it seems like if you were in a poor black neighborhood, like, cops just hang out there, right? Like, isn't that maybe I'm like, maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm just, like, projecting that, but it feels like that would be the place that a cop would go first. I don't know.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So almost like in modern times, that the systemic racism is now in the form of over-policing of black neighborhoods instead of
like
the ignoring
broken
of
windows policing kind of thing. Like, you know, we prosecute the petty crime to stem the you know, the bigger crimes, and so, like, you know, they do that sort of thing. But I don't know, maybe that's not true, especially probably in, like, rural South 1960s America.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm off base here, but I don't know. Correct me if you're listening, and I'm not, you know, listeners, viewers, whoever you are, if you have other comments about this, but yeah, I don't know.
You know, as is normally true, we're not the experts so much of anything, but it is certainly interesting to get to experience this artist's take of racism in the South in the 60s.
Right, and I mean, I didn't live through it. You didn't live through that. We don't know, you know.
I could be the Highlander. You don't know how old I am.
That's true. I don't. Also, I literally don't know how old you are, so I'm a good friend, you guys.
Actually, my birthday's coming. I'm going to be 34 years old.
Oh yeah, I knew your birthday was coming. I knew it.
I read about Fortnite in the newspapers. That's the thing that kids like, right? They like the Fortnites.
Affirmative action. You know how.
Back in my day, that just meant 14 days.
Around a goddamn toilet.
No, is that not? Are we bleeding?
I mean,
viewers?
I still think it means that, but I don't think it just means that.
Moving on. So you're not actually in a real city. Obviously, this is supposed to be New Orleans. But they
Right.
call it in the game New Bordeaux, which I think
Right.
is a fun transition. This is actually a theme from Mafia. Mafia 2, oh boy, I should have looked this up. I believe, from memory, took place in Empire City, which of course was supposed to be in New York standard.
Sure.
And I'm sure the first one took place, somewhere else,
Right.
with a fictional name that represented a real city. This is very common in a lot of these open world crime games. You think of the Grand Theft Autos. You think of what's that purpley one? Saints Row.
Oh, Saints Row.
Saints Row.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a similar thing, which is, they're supposed to be stand-ins for cities, and they're hyperbolized. Saints Row to the extreme, Grand Theft Auto less so, and I think here they're really going for as much of a realistic, albeit violent, representation of wherever they are.
Okay.
So, I played Mafia 2 quite a bit. We talked about this off camera a little bit. I don't want to say almost platinumed. I attempted to platinum that game, but Mafia 2 actually had a lot of requirements that are just grindy. And so
Really?
I never got around to it. Who knows? I might get back to it. It's a PS3 title. I'm sort of done with PS3. We'll see.
Yeah.
Scattergun.
I enjoyed it. I definitely felt that it was a bit kind of repetitive, and there were better open world games, but it certainly was interesting. It reminded me a lot of The Godfather. That was the impression here.
Okay.
And this game moves away from the Italian mob, even though the Italian mafia is a big part of this game, and it more focuses on race dynamics and also newly developing racial mobs and how they
My
interacted.
cousin's been trying to get on here for over a year now. Was in the Navy for 2 tours. Got medals for.
In fact, I think it's a really good time to read to you the PS description.
Okay.
It's a crock of shit if I ever heard one.
They say on PSN Store. 1968, New Bordeaux. After years of combat in Vietnam, Lincoln Clay knows this truth. Family isn't who you're born with, it's who you die for. When his surrogate family, the Black Mob, is wiped out by the Italian Mafia, Lincoln builds a new family and blazes a path of military-grade revenge through the mafioso responsible. New Bordeaux, a reimagined New Orleans, a vast open world ruled by the mob and detailed with the sights and sounds of the era. A lethal anti-hero, B. Lincoln Clay, orphan and Vietnam veteran, hell-bent on revenge for the deaths of his surrogate family. Revenge your way. Choose your own playstyle, brute force, blazing guns, or stalk and kill tactics to tear down the Italian Mafia. A new family on the ashes of the old. Build a new criminal empire your way by deciding which lieutenant you reward and which you betray. PS4 Pro Enhanced Mafia 3 supports PS4 Pro with increased graphical fidelity. Anything stand out to you in that description of if you should buy or not buy this game?
Figured it'd be bigger. Gets the job done. Only time there's a problem is when the flu clouds
No.
up.
I'll give you a hint. I'm going to read to you the same writer's description of The Sixth Sense. Here we go. The Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis is dead the entire movie. He's a ghost the entire movie. Look out for that.
Neither till I saw this.
Oh, I see.
At least with oil, we don't get soot all over the goddamn.
So the event that they describe over and over again in that description of the surrogate family dying is sort of the main driving part of this game. It happens very dramatically. I'm kind of upset that it spoils it, and to be perfectly frank with you, I ruined it for you on purpose because I was ruined when I read the damn thing. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, that's the whole impetus to this game. Like, how do you do that? How do you describe the movie with like the main twist?
To be fair, I mean, yeah, I get it, but like, I wouldn't have known it was the twist unless you said something.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Maybe it's just because I really have
not.
not been paying attention to the story. Like, I don't even know what the point is of us being in this Federal Reserve right now. Like, I don't know what's going on because we've been talking. So maybe there's that. Like, I literally don't realize that what you've said is a spoiler because I don't know what the story is at this point. So
You're paying attention more than you think you are. You actually shouldn't know what's going on right now. The mission that I'm taking you through, and your trophy goal, is essentially to finish this mission. Finish the bank heist mission. And you might be saying to yourself, well, that seems like it will take 5 minutes. The first act of the story is essentially like a what do you call it? A frame where it begins with this mission and ends with this mission. So you're going to bounce back and forth in this mission for a minute. So that middle chunk is going to show you his, his impetus for doing things.
If it brings up that fucking lease again, I'll use it to wipe my ass and make him eat it. Not only that, I know he's friends with a couple of niggas, and they go over there at night and play cards. Told John when they moved in that
Yeah,
I
I just, but like I said, like the thing you just read to me, like I wouldn't have known that was a spoiler.
The kind of people I associate with. Let the niggas play cards with other niggas, I say.
So for viewers, when Lauren gets a little quiet, it means that she's learning the mechanics of a game. And that's what's happening right now. We're in the tutorial phase. Right now it's teaching her some stealth.
Yeah.
Which is certainly one play style. And I experimented a little bit with the different play styles just to get a feel of how fast the game plays, if you play it differently, and how it rewards you and punishes you for certain play styles. I typically go for stealth when I get the options in games. I like to go for stealth and I like to go for pacifism. What can I say? Lawful good, I guess, in the spectrum of all the things. But it's a lot of fun to play different play styles, and if you get the option to replay a game because there's some reason to go back to a game, and it gives you the option to do something different, it's fun to explore that. I'm curious, when you get a chance and when you feel comfortable talking about it, what is your typical play style? Are you typically a stealthy pacifist? Are you all out kill everybody? What's your thing?
I try to be stealthy. I'm very terrible at it. So like, in Assassin's Creed where like stealth is the thing that you can do, I usually end up having to like kill every flippin' guard there because I end up like somehow stepping out of cover at the worst possible time. So I always try to do stealth. Doesn't usually work.
I've seen you play some Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And the mission will call for like quietly sneak your way through the palace, and it's like you jump in the middle of all the guards. I'm here. Hello.
Here I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. And but that game punishes you for that. For every time you jump into the middle of a crowd of guards, you're like battling your way to survive.
Oh yeah,
that
if you don't have like smoke bomb, and whatever one has the smoke bombs, if you don't have smoke bombs and then like, like all of the good armor, then you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah. Sometimes the stealth layout is not so great in that all it does is it slows down the action, and you feel like, why did I waste all this time?
Yeah.
When I could have just shot my way through these guards. Games like Thief, in which you can murder your way through everything, or you can stealthily make your way through everything. I also find to be similar in the sense of what's the point of doing one versus the other. And the point is, in that game, is that they overlay a HUD and they overlay like achievements and playstyle rewards at the end of a mission to say, oh, you played that stealthily, here is your reward, or look how great you did stealthily. But it's just the game sort of saying, thank you for playing it this way. There was no reason you should have done it. Speaking of HUD, I did want to talk to you about how you feel about the HUD. Is everything make sense to you? Do you feel like the information you need is where it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone need a man who can shoot.
Yeah, I have no complaints.
I didn't love the HUD.
No?
For me, I found it not intuitive.
Fucker, how about some help over here?
For me, I didn't like that the mission was always on the screen. That sort of felt like I can remember what I'm doing, everybody, And also, it's like so far in the corner that it's not useful to me. It's not like I have to look for it. And a lot of the things with the gun, the bullets, and everything, it felt like this is there's too much information being displayed down below that I can't easily access what I'm looking for.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay.
What?
I did like the blood sort of getting more intense as you get hit and then fading away. I think that that's a nice organic way of representing damage, especially when you're regenerating damage. So that I was good with.
Okay, I'm pressing the button to... Okay, what the hell? It said reload, and I had to hit the button like 5
Only way we
times.
walk out of here is if we get the weapons stored in that armory.
Yes,
Bust the door open. I'll watch our asses.
My old man gonna shit a brick when he hears about this. Fuck! Fuck! Come on, open!
Give me that damn thing.
I must say, for all that bleeding you were doing, that is a damn white shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, man.
Your
Okay.
friend, not so much. Your friend is like covered in blood.
Rotate L. Oops. Oop. Oh, man. Timing. There we go.
Yeah, mini games.
Yeah.
You know, that was fine with that. You know, it's nice that a game attempts to switch things up, but you know, I did feel a little bit like, okay, that was fine, but it seemed like you really slowed down the action for kind of a silly little diversion, and one that had like kind of a lengthy tutorial, just reading just to figure out what to do.
Yeah, which is... Hold on a second. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I just need to turn on the air conditioner. It got hot in here.
It's the summer here, guys. It's hot.
Yeah, like, it hasn't been humid the past few days, so it hasn't felt as terrible. But
Yeah.
it just got really warm all of a sudden.
I don't know what to tell you. This bank in the 1960s just doesn't have that AC that you used to.
Alright. Hold L1 and use R, then release L1. Okay. That's the one I want. Yo, where'd Georgie go?
Shit, man, these guys ain't fucking
Yo,
around.
Georgie.
Face way worse than this over in Nam. Little smoke don't be shit.
I'll be the voice of Eeyore, and I'll be nitpicky.
I'll deal with these
I don't
assholes.
like that they pause everything to do a tutorial. I feel like that is no good. I think if you need to explain something to a viewer, do it in the game. Maybe have text overlaid while action is happening.
No,
But to pause the
honestly,
entire-
I'm totally 100% okay with it. Like, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying, but also, like, I get distracted easily. If I'm being shot at while I'm trying to understand something, I get really
Yeah.
frustrated.
Sure. No, I hear you. I guess for me, I would prefer them to have a lull in the action, but like basically go, oh, can you reload my weapon for me? Throws a gun at you, you get the prompt, then you learn how to reload. Or, you know, hey, why don't you switch that weapon to this one? And then the game kind of overlays how to switch. You know, I feel like that, for me, that's an important way to keep us within the world and not sort of be like, here's how you interact with our world. I find that a bit obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm cool
But I hear
with
what
it.
you're saying. There's a balance. You need to be able to obviously know what to do.
Right.
So we've left the beginning frame of the story. Now you're in sort of the middle chunk. We will bounce back and forth a bit. What do you think of the graphics, the character design, the city design?
You know, I mean, the characters look alright, I guess. The graphics look good. I don't know that I care for the design. I mean, I guess it's the 1960s, so I don't really know. But everyone looks okay.
Yeah. A lot of the models are modeled after their respective actors.
Sure.
I actually could not find much of interest for any actor. I went through the IMDb list, and that's not to say that these actors didn't do things. They did do things. A lot of Law and
Right.
Orders, a lot of, you know, there's a list of things they've done, but nothing stood out to me, or I think to the shared probable interest of our viewers.
Cool.
Also, as far as recurring characters from previous Mafia games, pretty much nothing. It's more of a continuing motif rather than a continuing storyline.
Oh, so it's not like these aren't the characters from the other ones. It's just like this is the Mafia.
Exactly. A little bit like Grand Theft Auto in that, you know, it's a whole new set of characters, a whole new location. Maybe the mechanics are similar. And in fact, they are. The whole driving and staying under the speed limit and following the rules of the road. That was a pretty big element of Mafia 2. In fact, you can sort of turn on safety features so that you're forced to drive into the speed limit and stuff. And it's interesting because you feel like, man, is this how boring driving is in real life? Is this how boring it is?
Yeah, driving is boring, guys.
So I believe if you hold R2 and L2, you can start your favorite podcast in the car, I believe.
What if the plane crashes? What if...
Damn,
But
you're scratching the paint.
I had a car. L2 and R2.
Where was I? Ever since we got your telegram about coming home, he's been climbing the walls.
I hope you hit that car
What
because
if
of
the
me.
plane crashes? What if the train
No, I
delayed?
just-
What if they call him
I didn't
back?
realize how
And he
fast I
go
was
stand in
going.
front of the kitchen window and sip his whiskey like he was expecting you
seem
to come
to mind.
strolling
It's all
up the
good.
sidewalk. Don't say nothing about me telling you that.
I do like the
once it
driving
sees
and
you.
the little fake
Ever
road
since
signs
Mama
they
had
put
Yeah.
you know how
on
it
the screen.
gets.
That to me was great design, very into that. It's a good balance between putting like a giant line on the screen or not having anything and just having the map. I think it's a good in between, and I really appreciate that decision. You ever been to New Orleans?
No, I have
Remember
not.
Marty and Ron Langford? Sure. They moved up to
Neither
Empire
have I,
Bay
so
years
unfortunately I
after
have
you
nothing
shipped
to
out.
compare it to.
Started
I
selling
know
weed.
that when they
They
did
call and
Mafia
ask me if I
2,
want something.
and it was
I
New
say,
York,
sure. It's free money as
you know,
far
there
as
were
I'm
moments that I was like, okay, this is New York. But again,
Yeah.
that was set in like the 40s, so it wasn't
Right.
exactly like,
that they're looking for a partner down around these parts.
Can't imagine Sammy was too keen on that.
I never told him about the weed. That ain't nothing to nobody. But
I
this
should point
gotta
out
talk
though
to
that
him
this
about.
isn't the same
I ain't
development
said more
team
than
as
3
Mafia
words
1
and
and
he's
2.
yelling about the
They were
feds.
actually sold the
Only
rights to the
JF
Mafia
up our asses, and what
franchise,
the fuck
and it was
Okay.
done by a
thinking?
different
Selling
team
dope to
entirely.
kids running
The
around the
developer
neighborhood.
here is Hangar
We ain't selling
13,
no dope
and they were
to no
taking over the
children.
franchise from
Like they
2K
got any
Check.
money to begin
And
with.
2K Check did have some involvement. There
around
was
the
a
side.
team that, you know,
That
did
was
help
pretty
them.
serious shit.
But from what I
guys over
read,
Nam who were running
apparently
it
the two
while them
teams
pissing off
didn't
the wrong
work so
person.
great together.
Got
And
that
it wasn't that they
Bronx
didn't get
cut.
along, but it was that there was a
Shit,
bit
man,
of
I don't
a
know
language
what's what.
barrier and
That's
cultural
why I'm
barrier
talking to
that
Georgie
it just
about
it didn't go as
No way
smoothly as they
Sal's
would
gonna go
like.
along with that.
Georgia says he can keep his old man from
2K
fighting out.
Games
We'll
did
still
keep the
clear the
publishing
high
rights,
low
so
in
it is the
Frisco,
same
just selling the French
publishing house.
Wall. George's Uncle Lou won't say shit as long as we give him a taste of the action.
I don't know, man. George is a cool cat and all, but heroin ain't the kiddie pool.
Come in on it
So a
with
lot of
us.
traffic
I bet he'd
today.
agree to a three-way split.
Sure is.
I don't know. I kind of need to lay low a bit, figure some things out.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. You and I both drive, and I'm sure that like we can drive home from work and we start this game, and it's like now follow the traffic laws.
It's
like,
funny because
what
I
kind of-
don't drive anymore.
Get
So this is
settled
like
in.
a.
I was thinking we could go to this new club
I mean,
in
I
the
don't drive
French
to work.
Ward.
I don't drive on a
Maybe
daily
y'all
basis.
dated.
So this is
Who am
actually
I
a
gonna
change
go
of pace.
with? Your great aunt Beatrice?
Okay, cool.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I ever tell you I
But no, I get what
accidentally
you're
saw
saying,
her
like,
without a
oh.
shirt once.
Follow the rules of the
That
road.
was the droopiest, nastiest tits I've
Not like
ever
Grand Theft
seen.
Auto where you can just do whatever the flip you want. And like,
They were like 2 sacks
Exactly,
of
there's no
potatoes with nothing in them.
yeah.
Yeah, like that was a
I mean, to be
fucking
fair, when you
accident.
get to the location you're
Hey,
going,
man,
you're gonna
fuck
get to do
you. I
some
was damn
dishes,
lucky to
and
walk away from that
laundry,
Anyway,
you know, all exciting stuff coming.
Regine,
Regime.
believe me, once you see her, you're gonna want to dig
I
right
kid,
in.
but I do want to point out that they're taking. We jumped into in a television show when you start off and it's like, oh no, all the main characters they're on fire, everyone's on fire. How did they get into this situation 10 hours earlier? We're
Right.
drinking coffee. That is this level.
Right.
That's exactly what this level is. And in TV shows, I hate that because to me it's like you didn't have an interesting pacing. Your pacing from chronologically was boring as F, and it took forever to get to the exciting part. So instead, we're going to slice out that little bit of exciting part, throw it in the front as a hook, and there we go. We fixed the problem. But I see that formula so often that I don't find it interesting. And
Well-
here, I feel like it's the exact same thing.
I mean, so that's actually like that's like a literary thing. It's called in medias res.
It's not
But-
not in media res. And here's why. Because in media res is starting the story in the action and moving forward. This is more of a framing device where they go back to and sort of get to how do we get to that point and you see
No,
it happen again.
that's what that is, though. Is it not? I'm pretty sure that you start the story in the middle and then go back.
I've always understood a media res to be like you're starting in the middle of action, but you don't go back and explain it. You just sort of like, we're starting here, go forward.
From my understanding, and I mean, it's been a long time since I was, you know, in school or whatever, but I was an English major.
Or whatever.
So, yeah, I just
Okay,
always, I mean, I'm maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I defer to you. I mean, I am going to Google it.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and say that you are correct because the way this is reading on Wikipedia.com, which is an academic journal, I don't know if you're aware, it says works that employ in media res often, though not always, will subsequently use flashback and non-linear narrative for exposition of earlier events. So that's describing what you're describing, so I take back my ignorance.
I mean, I don't think it was ignorance. It says sometimes. It doesn't say that it always does it. So I think that, yeah, stories can be told both ways, where, like, you just start in the middle and then don't even go in and explain where the beginning was. You just are in the middle and then you're forward.
Right.
Like, that's definitely, yeah. I think I've read things like that, where it's just like, there's no, like, introduction to the characters. It's just like, there you are.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a heist. We're in the middle of this thing, and, you know, we're moving forward from there. And, you know, maybe there's like a line of like, oh, man, we met 10 years ago, and already we're doing heist. And that's it. You just you move forward.
Right.
Anyway, I guess the point of what I'm trying to say
is that driving bit was boring after the bank heist, is what you were saying.
Yeah. And that because they felt the need to, like, start in the action and go back as opposed to just having an exciting beginning and moving forward.
Right.
That was kind of bummed me out.
Right. Yeah. Like, if they had started with this story of this guy coming back from Vietnam, I'd have been okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not the most exciting stuff in the world, but I like characters. I like knowing who the people are. It's just what I do.
Yeah. You know, and especially if you're making a game that's supposed to employ racism and everything, I could totally see a scenario in which you make this game, he's getting off from the train station, from the war, maybe, you know, a bunch of white characters are making a comment or something, and maybe, you know, you don't have full control of the mechanics yet because it's the beginning of the game, and so you can't really fight back. Like, I could see that line of things, and instead it just felt like... And especially because this game is also framed within this documentary kind of callback thing they're doing. And it happens so often, Lauren. And there were times when I was like, should I put the controller down? Should I get a sandwich? Because it's not like they're adding that much. I mean, everything this guy is saying, and I feel comfortable talking over it, you're going to see in like 5 minutes. I mean, the guy's like, oh man, and then, you know, and then a bomb went off, and then like a bomb goes off in the next scene. It's like, why do we feel the need to frame this? And if anything, you're taking away because now we know that this character lives to be an old man.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a writer. I'm not a developer. I didn't spend my life doing this, and I don't mean to completely shit on people, but I did not enjoy... This was not for me. I didn't enjoy this constant kind of time shifting from one part of the story to the next. It didn't add anything for me.
And I get... Okay. So, here's the thing. Like, they are trying to show it to you like it's a documentary, right?
Right.
Like, this guy is telling the story of, you know, what happened in the 1960s and whatever. But if that were the case, documentaries about events that happened are usually told linearly. They start at the beginning, they end at the end. You don't watch a documentary that starts at the end and then tells you how you got there. I don't think I've ever seen a documentary like that.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It's like they're doing too many things. It's like they're doing the documentary, but they're also doing like a framing story in media res. And it's like, why are you making all these decisions?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And I'll bring it up again because some other things will happen narratively, and I'll kind of raise my hand again and say, hey, remember this conversation we're having? Now look at this. Like, I don't feel that there was a cohesive, maybe, what's the name of a showrunner, you know? I know that's not the right term for a video game, but like, I don't think that there was a guy who was really saying, no, we're making this overarching decision, so let's all kind of be on the same page.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
I don't often sleep in my boots, but I guess.
I mean, me either. Firstly, I wear shoes as little as possible. Secondly, like, falling asleep in them? No.
Yeah. Mafia 2 had a home base, and this game does too, and you'll get to that. But, you know, your wardrobe was actually kind of a big part of it. You unlocked wardrobes, you could get DLC wardrobes, you know, you were supposed to change in and out of clothes. That was part of it.
Also, there's a lot of, like, I haven't played very much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah.
There's a lot of front loading of the story, and it's like, and it's then this back and forth bullshit that I just don't, I don't care. I've stopped, like, even reading the subtitles. I don't know what's happening. I don't care to know what's happening.
It's not very unique. It's very like this group of mobsters gang doesn't like us, or there's a miscommunication. They're basically setting up, here's the group of enemies that you'll be fighting. One of them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll talk a little bit about, this game was in a bit of development hell. It was passed on to Hangar 13, and Hangar 13 had communication problems with 2K Czech, and it took a really long time for this game to get out of it and to actually come to fruition. And apparently, because of the requirement to have an 80 or more, it also stressed them out in how they developed this game. They really felt they had the need to pad it. And the game is front-loaded in a very real way with the story and what they were trying to do artistically.
Yeah.
And the game apparently sort of peters off in the sense that they wanted you to get through different areas, kill the bosses, or make a decision with the bosses, whatever you're going to do, to get to the main guy. And they realized they needed to do something to get people to play it a certain way. And so they basically locked all the bosses off. We have to clear entire areas before you can get to where you need to go to unlock the next area. And a very common complaint about this game, and I feel comfortable saying this because you're not going to get to see much of it, unfortunately, because we can't play the entirety of this game, but that it's extremely repetitive, that you end up just doing the same thing over and over again.
Give Sammy my best, Link.
And there's no added value. It's just like, now unlock this area and those 6 other ones so that you can get to the end of the story. And it's like, it's not that interesting to do this.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I forgot about the soup kitchen scene.
Nice to see you.
These types of scenes are great in games. Interact with the world, interact with the NPCs, it grounds you. It also slows down the action. So you want to make sure that you've had a lot going on before you do a scene like this. But unfortunately, again, I'm complaining. There wasn't much action before this. It just feels like, hey.
I sometimes feel real bad for you. Did you play this? You played this to get the trophy? You didn't watch footage?
I did. No, I played.
Like, I feel bad because you play the game and then you have to watch me play the game. Like, you're getting a double dose of, like, really terrible, boring stuff.
I'm good.
It's okay, and actually, I enjoy. One of the best things about doing this show, a little behind the scenes, is that I have my own playstyles. I'm a video gamer. I always go down this path. I always do things this way, and to see somebody else who is not me play the game and experience it for the first time, it's very exciting. It's very exciting to see how you interact with the game and how your opinions develop. And if anything, I have a problem keeping my mouth shut to let you form your own opinions.
Motherfuckers over here!
How did I get up here? Wait, what? Okay, I'm trying to take cover. You're not letting me, you dopes.
You did kind of glitch up there, didn't you?
Why does it take so long to like end the scene after you die? That seems weird.
I don't know. That's a good question. It's almost like the game has to figure out the rest of its physics before it moves on to the next thing. That's odd. So now that you've died once, and I died it several times in playing this game. So loading screens are long, as you've seen.
Yes.
So it's not like that long prequel to these screens seems to be doing anything on the back end. It just seems like it's taking you a long time to reset a checkpoint. But okay. There is an odd, I can't figure out why it does this. Sometimes when you die, depending on where you are in the story, it'll go to the future, where the documentary maker, or whoever the person that goes to, is like looking confused at the camera going, well, that's not how the story ends. And it's like, oh my gosh, because not only do you wait for the cutscenes to get to that, then you have to wait again. And it's like, okay, that was cute, kind of, and I'm glad they don't do it all the time. I don't know. More complaints. Because it's not consistent.
Oh my gosh,
like you died
now
there.
I have to sit through more story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might be interesting if this was like a true story. I want to play a video game based on like that has like real life mafia people. Like what's that movie? Goodfellas? That's based on real stuff, right? Like Is that a video game? Can I play that?
Well, no, unfortunately. What is that game? Oh my gosh, the one that had all those memes because you had the option of interrogating witnesses, and you would do like, I don't believe you or doubt, and the character would like jump down their throat, and it was like, okay, that's not what doubt means. Ellie Noire.
Oh, I never played that.
Apparently some of the cases in Ellie, Your Detective, some of the cases are actually real life cases from the 40s in LA.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So it's cool to sort of like fictionally go through these cases and try and solve them.
Cool.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't love, I think for the most part the character design is fine, but sometimes our main character looks a little too aggressive. Like, it's almost like it's not how a human quite looks. No, it's a bit too much.
I can't hear their voices because I, have the sound real down. Do they have accents? Do they have, like...
No.
Because this is supposed to be Louisiana, right?
Yeah, no, no. The accents are not very strong. If they're there, they're not very strong. I mean, there's certainly no, like, Jamaican, there's no French Creole, nothing like that.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. It's all sort of generic American from my memory. I mean, I just played it.
And then they put the disclaimer, they're trying to be all authentic, and they can't even get, like, this is Louisiana for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Well, okay, I will put a little asterisk there. as you get through the Haitian missions,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Haitian dialect and
Okay.
even some kind of like turns of phrase that are clearly supposed to be like, I guess, Haitian
Right.
60s New Orleans turn of phrase. But as I played through that, I remember thinking like, I don't know, this makes me feel a little uncomfortable. And you know, I'm a white man sitting on top of Privilege Mountain. What the fuck do I know?
Right.
But
Right.
I did play through and go like, this seems odd. It
I
just
feel
feels
like it
odd
would
that, like,
feel less odd if these people had, because right, look, he's even speaking French right now. You'd think he'd have some sort of accent.
yeah.
So if the main mafia people, these characters, had accents, then you cut to the Haitian people and they had accents, it wouldn't feel so off-putting because everybody has. Even if they just had Southern accents, for Pete's sakes, they don't need to sound
sure
French
this is how
Creole.
you wanna
Just they're
play
in the
this?
South.
Last thing they're gonna expect is an attack from the water.
Nothing
You
stands
head back
out to
round the
me
road.
as
Stay
far
with
as
the
our
car.
main characters.
I'll meet you over there
That
in the
one
store.
white gentleman
what
who
you're
was
doing.
asking you,
Trust
"Oh,
me,
you just
Alice.
back from Vietnam?"
Yeah.
He had a
This will all be
southern
behind
accent.
Oh, okay.
The occasional kind of ancillary character does, but our main team doesn't.
Now I'm gonna swim to this dock, and then it'll probably be a cutscene for another 5 minutes.
Did you develop this game?
Okay. I like
You know
that
what
it.
bothers me?
Never mind. Yeah. What?
You go ahead first, because I'm just.
Oh, I was just gonna say I tried to get out of the water by pressing the jump button, but they don't tell you that it's the button you use to jump over cover. Like, for being a
Yeah.
tutorial level, it's not very tutorial-y. Like, okay, tell me how to get out of the water. I've never been in the water in this game before.
Yeah. You could have been. There was a small lake in the bank mission that you could have been in. Just saying. I don't know if there would have been a tutorial there. I don't think so.
What? Who's shooting at me? See, this is what happens with stealth. This is me in stealth. They told me earlier how to holster my gun. I forget how.
I don't remember actually. I think it's holding down R2, maybe?
Nope, that's fire.
Whoops. Yeah, I moved away from the firewall. Alerting all the bugs. Well, I guess now's as good a time as any, since you're, shooting your way stealthily through all these guys, I see. Talk a little bit about some trophies.
Cool, let's do it.
I don't know if you know this, but I collect video game trophies.
Oh, really? Tell
It's
me
kind of my
more.
thing. It's kind of the whole thing that prompts me to play game after game after game. Get as many trophies as possible, platinum them, get 100%, do it all. Which is why I know all the stats. And who helps me? Nobody but PSNprofiles.com. They are a PS4 and PS3 trophy aggregator. So they is a community of people who collect trophies, and it gives you statistics, how rare or how valuable a trophy is. So from that website, this game has a platinum trophy, of which is 7.83%, makes it a very rare trophy to achieve. It has a gold, 7 silver, and 77 bronze trophies.
77 bronze trophies?
Not a mistake, 77 bronze trophy. That's a total of 86 trophies and 1,635 points. It also has 3 DLC packages, of which each DLC package has 1 silver trophy and 9 bronze each.
That's a lot of trophies.
So if you like getting bronze trophies, holy shit, is this the game for you?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about, in a macro sense, my favorite layout of trophies. Because, I don't mind so much. I may have my opinions, but what if the developers feel is the difficulty of the trophy? That's fine. Make it a gold, make it a silver, whatever, that's your choice. There are some times when, it would be like, oh, collect every single thing in the game, kill everything on hard mode, and do it in 5 minutes, and it's a bronze trophy that, I'm sitting there rolling my eyes like, really? This needs to be a fucking gold or platinum trophy. What the fuck? So that does happen occasionally, but for the most part, whatever. Here, I feel like 77 bronze trophies is a bit much. Some of them are hard. It feels like you could have probably thrown some of those silvers into gold and made some of those bronzes and silvers. You could have spread it out a little bit more evenly, guys.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Especially because, I don't know if you've noticed, but you've been playing an hour and you have not gotten a single trophy. And you've not been in danger of getting a trophy either. Like, it's just... They're not like, oh, you found a blade of grass in this place. There's nothing like that in this game. Everything is like, do this thing this many times, or, finish the story beats.
Really? It's all just like story mode stuff?
The more normal course of action in a video game, and the more typical thing is, hey player, here's 1, 2 to 3 trophies, honestly just for playing the game. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you've mastered how to push X. Here's a trophy. Oh, you've gotten into the very beginning story beat, so now you're hooked. Here's a trophy. And they do that so that you get the sense of accomplishment, and you want to continue getting trophies. It's an achievable thing. Here, man, there is one trophy you could have stumbled upon, which I knew about in advance, and I tested to see how likely you would have gotten it. And man, did you zoom past it as hard as you could. So I was like, okay, I probably could have made this a one and done trophy, but I was so concerned you were going to stumble into that one and we would have been messed up. The point being is that, there's just not a good balance temporally or with the points for these trophies. They're not necessarily bad, it's just, there wasn't a lot of time balancing it. I know you are in the middle of a firefight. Of course, you could have attempted to do this stealthily.
I didn't even know that I wasn't doing it stealthily. Like, all of a sudden, someone was shooting at me, and I didn't even know where they had come from.
I was in the same boat as you. I felt like I stumbled into a group of, everybody looking at me like, whoops. So I also found my way through this. This game has a bit of the Uncharted problem, which is you have this one guy who's not particularly more powerful or more advanced than anyone else, who's put into the middle of these ridiculous firefight situations, like this one guy versus the entire Haitian community. And it's a little like, okay, I mean, why am I able to do this so well? Video games, it's just not a very good.
Right?
You've chosen easy mode, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank Christ he's gone.
I think that's fair. I mean, not only are we trying to get through the trophies here quickly, or to get to our goal quickly, but there are no difficulty-related trophy sets for this, so you can play the entire game on easy. I don't see any indication that it's not how the developers designed the game. Sometimes they make the difficulty... A good game developer will make the hard difficulty mode first. That's the one that they will spend their time agonizing over, exactly how the enemies react, what's the correct hit point ratio, that's everything. And they scale it down to make it so that, people can get through it quickly if they can't handle that. For this game, I get the impression that the easy was the mode that was developed for, and then they just kind of ramped it up. Normally I like to wait until we're at least the hour mark, but we're very close, so I feel comfortable asking you, how are you doing with the controls? Is everything intuitive? Are you finding it difficulty to remember what action does what? Is it responsive? That kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. I forget, Sometimes I forget what the button for cover is.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, because I'm dumb.
No trades.
Oh man, there's a lot of I ran the wrong way. Whoop!
I did find myself jumping into cover with X and then trying to get out of cover with pushing X again, which doesn't do anything. You have to back out with circle and then go back to X if you want to, go somewhere else. So that for me was like, okay, I need to get used to this.
Well, and then when they get right up at you, like I forget that it's triangle. It's not X anymore. It's triangle when you want to like hand-to-hand combat or whatever.
Triangle is your counter. It typically will show up as a prompt, but it's also kind of like a grab and kill if you're close enough. Circle is the punch option.
Oh, see, they didn't even tell me that.
Or square, one of the two. Circle or square is just a generic punch. Yeah. They didn't tell me that either. I eventually figured that out when I felt myself smashing triangle and not getting the results I wanted. I realized, oh wait a minute, this is like kind of a QTE event. Like there's actually a whole other option for just punching.
Oh great, this is cool. This is right where I wanted to be.
The others going after Purvis.
Are you right in the middle of everything? I can't wait to see.
Burn down half the hollow to get to Sammy. We're doing it.
Well, like, okay.
And then it's dead.
First of all,
Alice and the other one.
like, you're supposed to be stealthy, right? They put you at the end of the dock. Like, there's a dude right flipping there, right? You see him on the heads up? Now they're coming, like, right at you. It's like, hi, how do you expect me to be stealthy? Maybe I wasn't supposed to get out of the water yet? But they had me swim towards the dock. I don't know.
No, I think this is, yeah. I mean, you know that you can crouch with the...
Yes. But even so, like, crouching doesn't make you invisible.
What? You know how often I crouch in life? I'm not invisible? I'm sorry, I know this is totally unrelated and not evergreen, but there's this thing on Reddit right now, and it's this guy who's tricked into thinking that he's invisible. Have you seen this?
No.
They're doing a magic trick, and the guy puts like a blanket over somebody with a chair and pulls it away and does like a trick where the person is no longer there. But he claims the person's invisible. And then he brings another member from the audience over to do it again. He puts the blanket over him and then pulls it away, and the guy is still there, but he thinks he's invisible now because the audience is they're in on it and they're reacting as if he's invisible. They're clapping and they're like, wow, it is the funniest fucking thing. Because the guy's like, I'm invisible.
That's hilarious.
It's a grown man. Like, there's no excuse. It's just very funny.
What? Ah!
Also, you know, I'm glad it's not, you know, they're able to stay stealth, but that guy is standing right next to you. Like,
I know.
right next to you, and it's like, huh, I thought I saw someone here.
And then this guy over here, he doesn't notice that his friend just disappeared?
I love it because it can also happen that the two NPCs are talking to each other, and you knock one out, and the other one's like, well, I guess the conversation's over.
Guess he's done talking to me.
You know, I mean, I get it. It's a video game. You make for allowances, but it's like, okay. When the entire gameplay is just allowance after allowance, it gets to be a little...
Yeah. Alright, I guess they're not supposed to go this way, because I can't find a way to get that guy. Like,
So
I'm
I wanna
right
tell you
here.
about the
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're anticipating that you're gonna just like go behind all of these guys and knock them all out individually. Maybe.
I'm just amazed that they don't, like, see me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, you were gonna tell me about...
I don't remember. But I could tell you about trophy yays and nays since I need to fill time. I
Yeah,
guess.
let's do it.
Trophy yays and trophy nays. That's a theme song. You're welcome. This little game is essentially I'm going through the trophy list and which trophies seem like a big pain in the butt and which ones seem like, you know, really well thought out, worthy trophies.
Okay.
Here we go for the trophy nay of the game. There's a trophy called Cash in Hand. To get this trophy, you have to save $150,000 between your wallet and the bank. So what that means is that at any point in the game, you know, from looting, from completing missions, you get money, and you can use that money to buy things, to buy upgrades to cars, guns, your outfits. You know, there are lots of uses for money. But the game doesn't want you to spend it until you hit $150,000, and then the trophy will pop. So you just have to hold on to it. There's another trophy related to spending all the money, like, oh, spend $600,000 in the game.
Okay.
That one's not a trophy, yay, but I do think that that one is an appropriate trophy. A trophy that's just designed, a trophy that's just designed to be like, here's a milestone. Eventually you'll hit this amount. There you go, there's a trophy. That's fine, no problem. But a trophy that's like, hoard this money until a certain point,
Yeah.
which there is no reward for, and in fact makes the game more difficult because you can't buy upgrades, you can't buy any of the things, seems like a poor man's excuse for difficulty level. If you wanted to make a difficulty related trophy, then put a trophy related to the difficulty mode. You have two of them in this game, a normal and a hard. But don't create these arbitrary, like, play the game with this handicap, because it doesn't add to the enjoyment. It just is like, oh, don't forget, don't spend your money if you want to get this trophy. I think that's poor design. I think that's just somebody thinking, we have to think of another trophy here. Let's just make this limitation. So that's my trophy name. The trophy yay is related to the trophy I'm going in, which you get for finishing attached to racket without killing any enforcers. So this trophy could be interpreted as the same that I just complained about, which is here is a false limitation to the game, play it this way and you'll get a trophy. But the reason I like this one is because this one rewards a different play style. The game allows you to play this in stealth, to play it as a pacifist, to play it, you know, all guns Rambo. It has different ways and it's responsive to different ways of gameplay. To highlight a mode of play, I think is a great type of limitation to put on a player and reward. I think that's fun because it allows for kind of a role-playing mechanic, or for just rewarding a playstyle, as opposed to, you know, don't upgrade or don't spend money. That's the poor kind. So that's the difference in my mind.
No excuses! Tear this place apart!
I know you're not a trophy person, but
No.
you know, have you ever come across a trophy list that you've tried to go for and then felt like this is not fun, this isn't adding to it, or
We ain't your people, cocksucker!
I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure that's happened where, like, I've been playing a game and just been like, well, you know, do you remember that game, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture?
yeah.
I feel like most of the trophies in that game, like, I get that the point was to, like, experience all the weirdness of that game. But a lot of the trophies were just like, hey, listen to this recording like 4 times. And it's like, how am I supposed to know that that's a thing without looking it up?
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's a great example. I think that's an example of a developer after the fact coming up with a trophy instead of there being this, you know, reward for playing the game and experiencing something we want you to experience.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great example. It's exactly what I'm talking about. I've said before, I would love to be hired as your trophy expert, your trophy suggester. I really think that, you know, this is something that Sony should have somebody that, you know, is a guru, a recommender, because so many times developers don't get it right. Or they get some of it right and some of it not. It just, I don't know. There are enough games out there that we should learn some lessons. But I keep seeing the same mistakes over and over again. The same sort of, like, frustrating or not thought out lists. I see good stuff too, which is why I always highlight a yay as well. But you know, it is what it is. So, other than end of game content, I've gone through all the research portion of this. We're at 1 hour and 9 minutes, and I do have some concern that we're not going to hit the trophy point. You're a little bit slowed down here than the way I was. It's not to say that you're not doing fine, because I got slowed down in another section.
I don't know. I'm not really enjoying this game.
Yeah.
Like, this is not. I don't like this. Yeah. This isn't really like. I don't know. This isn't really like I don't really like this type of shooter, really at all. Like,
Yeah.
the Uncharted games. Nope.
Yeah.
Don't like them.
Is it the... I guess I have a couple of kind of leading questions.
Sure.
Is it the mechanics that bug you? Is it...
I just don't really like shooters, like, at all.
Okay. Yeah. Another common thing with the Uncharted games, and I noticed this trend here, is that they'll lead you down sort of a corridor of story in which, you know, oh, get from this point to this point. We'll sort of explain what's going on, and, you know, here's some action beats or story beats. And then you'll enter a large space with a bunch of places that you can crouch behind. And you know the second you go there, like, oh, okay, this is a combat room. I need to, like, fight my way and clear this room so I can get to the next corridor of story. And this game does that too.
Yeah, like I just don't. These aren't, especially like realistic shooters like this. I don't really dig it.
Yeah. Is it a little bit of the violence that's also
No,
like,
I don't
kinda
have a
off-putting?
problem with that at all. I just don't like playing games like this. It has nothing to do with the violence. It's just a play style. It's not, you know, like I like Overwatch, but it's cartoony and fun and stupid and like there's no story. You just shoot each other and like blow up and you come back and like I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think I really do. Like, I've talked before on the channel how much I like Fallout. And Fallout is a very violent, just, you know, kill everybody thing. But I think the reason that I would enjoy Fallout versus this is that in Fallout, there is this overarching story that makes sense why you're doing what you're doing and why people are attacking you. You're all trying to survive a wasteland. You're all trying to survive resources. You're fighting for your lives at every point. Like, it makes sense what's going on. Here, it really feels like here's just a whole bunch of enemies, go through them. There's not really a clear motive as to why you need to clear this entire encampment of Haitians, other than the fact that they seem to be quote-unquote giving you trouble.
Yeah.
Like, in a civilized society, there should be much more of a political intrigue as to what's going on, instead of just kill all of these NPCs.
Yeah, I really, really don't like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. This does feel like kind of senseless, and like there's no consequence to this. There's no consequence to Cole killing, I think there's 30 or 40 people here.
Yeah.
It's just not even brought up, really. I mean, it's just sort of like, oh, good, you did the thing. You stopped us from being inconvenienced. I mean, yeah, they came into that soup kitchen, and that was sort of the motivator of like, look how awful this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel it either. When you finally get to the end of the story beat too, you're going to see that they're going to try and justify everything that went down again. And it's one of those tropes that's just like, really? I want to talk about it, so I definitely want to see that at least. Because I did feel also like, I was telling you before, it made me feel uncomfortable. You know, when I was on top of Privilege Mountain. And I want to talk about it, so let's definitely get to that point at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty much over this game.
Oh no, oh no. Are you starting back in the beginning?
Probably.
Let's try a new tactic if you would, and do your best to just sort of like Rambo run through it. Instead of trying to stealth it, just see how far you can get.
I mean, I
If
don't
you're
even know
starting at
where
the
I'm
beginning.
supposed like where am I even supposed to be going, and like I just
You
don't.
you were actually right there. You were right at the location you were supposed to be.
Stopping till that old man's dead. Him, Ellis,
Any
other one. Lincoln Clay.
Huh?
Target practice starts now. I see him.
Okay.
There's blood on the cold,
No,
motherfucker!
I can't like it won't let me like punch these people. I just okay.
There was not like a I think it's square that's punched. No.
I tried every button.
There you go. There you go. You did it. You did it eventually.
Yeah, when it gave me the prompt, you'd think that it would let you like
Oh
especially
wow! It doesn't even let you punch until the
Oh.
game recognizes you're in combat mode.
yeah. It's
Great,
like, oh,
that
these guys
sucks.
pulled their guns out. I guess now we can let you like injure them.
Wonder if that's a holdover to stop you from punching like your father and stuff like that. But that seems odd. They wouldn't have people coded as enemies from the get-go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, see if you can get to at least the end of this little story beat here, and intrigue you to get as far as the trophy goal. I don't blame you. You know, you're in charge here, so you let me know. But there is an interesting conversation to be had when you get to the end of this level.
It says you can whistle to draw people away, and then I do, and it whoops. Just like, all right.
Should have killed that old man a long time ago.
Well, now I
You knocked that little mask off the wall.
I saw.
Something I don't like. Let us see who that is.
Did the other guy not notice?
Yeah, the one guy heard the whistling came, but the other guy was just like, what?
Amazing. I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, I'll see you soon.
This dude just walks away like, okay.
Yeah. When you think of the top stealth games, you think of Metal Gear. I mean, that's the creme de la creme. But even Metal Gear has that problem of like, oh, you can tap on the walls, you can run versus walk, you can do all these things to distract guards. You can put Playboy magazines down. It's a thing. You can do all these things. But the same problem with the AI. They get distracted, something awful and odd is, and they go, huh, well, I guess I lost direct line of sight, so I guess he's gone. How weird. And it's like, hey, if you're going to focus that much on a stealth-based game, you're going to make AI that, like, responsive, you can't make them that forgetful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just dumb. It's dumb. It's like these NPCs don't have object permanence. It's funny. You know, as soon as we're done recording, I forget you even exist.
Right? Yeah. Who are you again? Oh, right, Tony. I remember now.
Yeah. I find myself sitting here with headphones on going like, what was I doing? Who?
Can't hide from me.
Dude, that's not even funny because sometimes that's my life. What was I doing just now?
With your people,
I'm glad we can document it. That's good. Are you gonna whistle your way through every one of these guys? Because if so, I love it.
I whistled to two of them, and then the other two were like, wait, something is happening here.
Shoot him from this side. Cover me. He's coming at me hard.
Thankfully, they were terrible shots.
What? Where?
They are.
No, no, no. I'm getting shot by someone. I just don't know who or where. What? I just died and I don't know how.
No.
Oh, I guess he was at that other door, but I didn't see. I just don't notice the heads-up display.
Yeah.
See, and this is another reason I don't like games like this. I'm terrible at them.
Well, you starting at the very beginning of this sort of like section is also like grab your head like, ugh, really? I don't even enjoy this segment enough.
Well, I imagine
do
though that the whole game is sort of like this, right? Like it's like you go around shooting people and killing them. Like that's the point of it, right? So yeah, it's not really my jam.
I mean, at least the story beats are. All the story beats are, you know, here are these sort of walled off sections of the world. Here's the design we've given. Here the enemy layouts go. There are other parts of this game that are more open world. Find the cars, find the collectibles. Again, Playboy magazines are in this game, now that I think about it. It's like... It's one of those open world games where it's like, this shouldn't be an open world game. There's no reason for this. There's no reason for you to try and do this expansive thing that you're just going to make repetitive anyway.
Right.
When clearly, based on the design of this, you'd rather do a shooter.
Yeah. Yeah, like what? Yeah. Ugh. This game is not great. And maybe it's just like because that's like maybe I'm just really bad at this type of thing and that's why I feel that way, but like I don't know, man. I don't know.
Have you ever dabbled in Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, I've played Grand Theft Auto.
Do you enjoy it?
See, I don't really like the missions in Grand Theft Auto. I really just prefer like running around and killing people. You know what I mean?
You know, I would argue that a very large percentage of Grand Theft Auto players are exactly the same. That they're either playing for that multiplayer experience, or they just like, you know, dicking around in the open world. I don't think that that's uncommon.
Yeah.
The thing is that this game, okay, Grand Theft Auto maybe has one tiny little mission that's very easy to introduce you to the world and the characters.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, if you want to go fuck all and just, you know, kill people by driving, go for it. Grand Theft Auto allows you to kind of have that chaos. Here, it is much more, no, the world exists, and you can force your way to exploring it after you get far enough into our story beats.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because they framed the story this way. They framed it in this way that, like, they have to establish that your family gets killed. You have to establish all these things before you have that freedom. Because there are too many things that relate to those story beats that they can't release you onto the world yet. And it just feels like, pick a thing you're doing, game.
Yep.
You're gonna do open world, let us do that. From the get-go. Alright, so you're making some progress here. It's good. I was teaching how to whistle to each other.
I know. Oh man, there's a lot of people right here.
You know, and also you've seen that tutorial several times now. The game doesn't remember that. Also, you've already killed the people that you would whistle to.
That's really annoying that it doesn't remember that I saw. Like, okay, fine. You start me back at that point. Fine. Don't fucking show me the tutorial every single time. I get it.
Or at the very least, when you've killed the two guys that you would whistle to, don't show me the tutorial.
Don't tell me to whistle because they're already dead.
I know. It's just... I don't mean to sleep on it first, but it just, you know, it's like, come on, guys. You know, you're not responding to my gameplay.
Yeah.
And you made a big point about putting a little disclaimer in the beginning about how this game is so responsive to the races. Like, maybe do that for all of the mechanics. Maybe don't just make it about one single issue.
Where did you come from? Stop showing me about the health bar. I get it, dude. I'm dying. Okay.
The health bar thing after you died like 7 times is also like, yes, I'm aware. I am replaying this from death. I mean, it
Like,
just seems like it'd be
also, why do you need to tell me there's a health bar? The whole screen turns red when and then it turns like blue, and you're like, yeah, I get it. My health is low. You don't need to interrupt me during the tutorial. I know. I've played games before. I know how that works. Thanks.
I'm glad you're saying this. And this is, I think, what I was more focused on when I was telling you about stopping the action for the tutorial. It is like, okay, you don't need to do that.
That's
You
annoying.
don't need to stop everything.
Like every single time. It's different if it was like the first time I played a thing and I'm like, oh cool, I'm glad to know how the reload works. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are you at? I'm gonna kill you.
I won't kill you. Come here, so I kill you.
Yeah. You did. Okay, now this is fun because I'm just being stupid about it, but... the hell?
Okay, cool.
Why are there so many tiki torches? Why is everything on fire?
They're going to a rally, maybe?
Who is shooting at me from where? Do you see like this fence up here just broke?
Yeah, I wonder if that's scripted.
No, there's definitely someone shooting at me from somewhere.
Oh yeah, I see him. On the right side of that building.
Oh, where? Oh.
In this country.
Wait, where did that guy come from? There was a guy that was just like behind me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it through this. I'm clearly
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I don't pay enough attention to the heads up. You'd think that if there was a guy behind you shooting at you, there would be some indicator on the screen. Like when people are like aware of you, they like put a thing in the middle of the screen that like points in their direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when the guys are
Yeah.
shooting at me, I have no idea where they're shooting at me from. They don't show you.
I think that part of that is a problem with the HUD. I really do think that there's too many things on the screen in too small of a print that like the stuff that matters doesn't stand out. And maybe there's a bit of audio design that you're missing because of the volume, but
Maybe.
like, you know, if it all relies on just trying to figure out where the voice is coming from, like,
Yeah.
that's not enough. It's not
Because,
enough.
you know, there are deaf people that play these games, I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
So if you're solely relying on the audio as a cue as to where the shooting is coming from, then that's just ridiculous.
I mean, especially because we have closed captioning on, so you would think
Yeah.
the closed captioning would indicate gunshot behind you or something.
Right.
How do you want to handle it? Do you want to go ahead and call it quits as far as the trophy, and then just continue
Yeah,
and talk through the?
I think
Okay.
I think the trophy is out of the question at this point, but I'll keep playing and we can keep talking about it.
Okay, so you're gonna try and brute force your way through this level, but let's talk a little bit about the beats that I did want you to see, because I wanted your opinion at least. You get to the end of this and you get to the Haitian boss.
Uh-huh.
You don't have a choice with this boss, and I don't know why, but you can't talk your way to this boss. You have to just kill him. It's a pretty easy fight. Just shoot him a couple times. It's whatever. But I think to attempt to mitigate the fact that he just like killed a bunch of people, and killed a bunch of people of like a single ethnic group, which I think is
Yeah.
also a little bit like, that's not so great.
Yeah.
There's a woman slave, like a human trafficking type situation.
Okay.
And it's like this moment where she's like cursing at the dead guy, and you know she's kind of, you know, for not a better word, she's kind of hysterical. And she also has a heavy Haitian accent, and the whole thing to me felt so like out of left field, and also like it made the entire scenario that I just went through feel like such an other scenario, like I was just dealing with a whole bunch of others, and it was kind of crazy. And even Cole even mentions, like at the end of it, after everything goes down and she like leaves, he kind of mutters Haitians, and it just is, it's like, ugh, I didn't like this at all. Like it made me feel very much like we were justified in slaughtering all these people. And this woman who clearly went through this awful thing is just kind of with a throwaway line of like dismissive, yeah, okay, crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if she comes back. I don't know if she's an important story beat or something. I honestly don't know. I didn't play enough of the game to know that.
Yeah.
But the way this entire sequence goes down, not only was it not enjoyable for me, and clearly it's not enjoyable for you too, it does feel like it just sort of ends in this weird moment of like, don't worry, these weren't really people. Like, it just, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
The fuck?
So, I do want to talk to you about that. Maybe you'll get to see that a little bit further.
Maybe.
The goal was for you to get to the end of the bank sequence, which you probably have about another hour of gameplay in order to do that. So, you know, you could have gotten a trophy in the beginning of this, where you had the dead body and the guy in the chair, and there was a small lake in the front. There were alligators in that lake. You could have either A, thrown the body into that lake, the alligators would have eaten it, and you would have gotten a trophy for feeding the alligators.
Okay.
Or B, you could have jumped into the lake, went swimming, and gotten killed by the alligators, and you would have got a trophy for dying by alligator.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so if this were a one and done, you could have gotten it in the first 5 minutes. Which is why I didn't choose it, because I was just too nervous.
Yeah.
That you were either going to throw him over, or that you were going to jump in.
But I was just going to be fucking around and be like, well,
exactly.
let's see what I can do
was
here.
Like, if anyone's going to
I did pick up that. I did pick up a body a few times.
You
and
did,
like,
and I got nervous. You should have seen me sweat a little, like, oh my gosh, is she gonna do it? Okay, so the trophy beat that you would have gotten would have just been for completing the bank heist story. So, you know, I don't know. You basically get double crossed. You know, that's the whole thing. Is that then you're against the Italian Mafia for the rest of the game. Let's talk about your rating. So we're gonna play the Metacritic game.
Okay.
So, you've played the game, or at least a small portion of it. You've gotten the trophy, or in this case, you have not gotten the trophy, but we've talked about it. It's time for a segment we're calling, Is Lauren Harsher Than Metacritic? Here's how we play. First, you give me what you would rate this game out of 100 and why. Then, you tell me if you think your score will be higher or lower than the Metacritic average of game critics. Then I'll read to you the highest and lowest critic ratings without the numbers they were assigned. And finally, we'll reveal if you went higher or lower than the Metacritic rating. Are you ready to play?
Sure am.
Let's do it. I need a score from you from 0 to 100.
54.
And to our 54.
Yeah.
Wow. To our viewers, a caveat, we have not played the entirety of this game, either of us. We are not experts on this. This is just a first glimpse kind of review. Does this game engage us? Do we feel the desire to go back to it? And we all have our likes and dislikes in games in general. So Lauren admittedly is not a first-person shooter person, but that's her, you know, that's my disclaimer on the front of this review. 54. I'm going to read to you the high and the low that Metacritic gave it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really Metacritic giving it. Metacritic, again, it's just aggregating critic reviews, but that's not the point. Here we go.
Right.
From Digitally Downloaded. It's refreshing to see a game tackle hard issues so earnestly, and I can honestly say this is a story which will stay with me long after playing.
Really?
Thank you. Oh gosh, I agree. I disagree so hard with that review, but yes. On the low end, from gameblog.fr. Mafia 3 lacks the seriousness to become a boss in the open-world action game genre. It sure has a very interesting setting, and its scenario is efficient thanks to some amazing cutscenes. But it just doesn't feel like it's a finished game in terms of visuals, and its mechanics tend to be just too repetitive. Too bad.
Yeah.
So, do you think you went higher or lower than Metacritic?
I think I went lower.
Okay. Remember how I was telling you that you needed to get an 80 to get that bonus?
Uh-huh.
And there was a lot of controversy. There was a lot of talk about, like, what does that 80 mean? You know, what kind of reviewers are we talking about? Apparently it was a big issue that caused some tension. And it probably distracted them more than it should have because the game only made a 68.
Huh.
So no one got a bonus. We did go lower.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I went lower as well. Like, the 2 reviews, both of them, even the low one, they were praising things that I was like, really? You're praising the cutscenes? The 6-hour fucking interlogs that are stopping us from actually playing the game? They're not that interesting.
I just shot that guy in the ear, I'd just like to say, and that was kind of satisfying.
Oh my gosh. So the last segment that we typically do is just a segment we call Is It Worth Downloading? So here's some data to keep in mind before we give that final judgment from howlongtobeat.com.
Yeah.
Here's the time sink for this game. If you just wanted to get through the main story of the game, you're looking at approximately 21.5 hours of gameplay. If you wanted to do all the little extras that the game offers, collectibles, side quests, that kind of a thing,
Yeah.
you're looking at around 32 hours. And if you were a completionist like me, and wanted to get that trophy, that platinum trophy, you're looking at closer to 47 hours of gameplay. At a download size of 46.11 gigabytes and a price regularly of $39.99, what do we think, Lauren? Is it actually worth downloading to your PlayStation? Assuming you have PS Plus, assuming that it's free, and is it worth buying at $39.99?
No, all to the above. I don't know. For me, no.
Yeah. Let's pause briefly because we're getting that scene that I was talking about.
Okay.
In just a moment. Assuming you survive this little battle you guys on here. Okay, so I think when you kill him, you can then interact with this boss. Yeah. Okay, so I know you can't hear it, but we're getting some heavy accents. From
Yeah,
him,
I mean,
and
they
we're gonna
have
get
it in the
heavy
subtitles a little bit.
Yeah. So again, you have no choice here. Later on, you have a choice in who you kill and who you bring to your team. So I hope you get a little kind of glimpse of what it was.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, we already talked about it, but how did that make you feel? I felt like it was super dismissive.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So now you get a Molotov sequence, which, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was like, I try and follow the instructions. Oh, Molotovs? That's clearly gonna be the best way to get through this. I found the Molotovs to be useless. Have fun with them. Good luck. But honestly, I felt like they were not helpful. If anything, they used them much more effectively than I ever did.
Cover me! We got a fire bomb! It keeps killing us! Firebomb that
Oh, I just caught at least one person on fire.
That's all I can hope for.
Yeah.
Your people
yeah, so I don't think that this is worth downloading.
Yeah.
And like
Or
I
buying.
said, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I feel like this game was given to us for a couple of reasons. One, it's one of the AAA titles. They always try and give us one that they can justify. This is why you have PS Plus. Look at the full gaming experiences we're giving you. And Mafia
Right.
3, you can't argue, was the AAA title is a AAA title and is the one that they wanted to give us to sort of showcase the PS Plus.
Right.
It's the third in a sequence of games that sold money, but also I think the PlayStation realized we're not making money off of sales of Mafia 3. The developers are realizing, we're not making money off of this. This was not critically acclaimed as far as compared to the other two. So let's make this one the free one. Hopefully, we'll make some money on sales of DLC. And maybe some people will buy some of the previous ones if this catches their fancy. And,
Right.
As a publisher, 2K of course has enough under the belt that they can lose some money there. But it really felt like one of those things that didn't feel like a gift. It felt more like leftovers.
I'll put one in his ear.
You're actually getting through this pretty fast.
I'm about to die. I'm just having fun running through here.
I'm blowing up gas canisters. I like it.
That was fun. Oh, I should have healed. Damn it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh well.
You can do it. You can do it.
No, I got so close.
Oh,
and
you
then
were so close.
I know.
Anyway, the game is a lot of this. The game continues on to you. It's not even worth talking about, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't find the story that engaging. I really find all this is an excuse just to get you to kill as many different people as possible. And they frame it in a way Lincoln Clay is responsible for destroying communities and getting revenge. And it's I don't know, this anti-hero crap. I don't care. I don't care about this character. I don't care about what I'm doing. I don't like the gameplay that much. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think it's worth downloading, and I do not think it's worth $39.99.
Nope. Nope, nope.
Wah, wah, wah. Also, is a huge download. 46.11 gigabytes.
No, it was like 60 gigs.
Oh, probably with updates and DLC? Yeah, probably.
Well, no, when I went to download it, it was like 60 gigabytes.
Yeah, no. What I was saying, it probably comes packaged as 60 because it's now downloading all that DLC and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of space. If you've got limited, if you don't have an extendable, an extended hard drive or something,
Yeah.
that's a lot of space.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So, I have a closing written here, and the closing I have written, the joke is supposed to be that it's in the Mafia voice, but I feel like it's going to be funnier because there is no Mafia voice in this game. There are no, it's either Haitian or nothing, so I feel like if I'm going to do it in their Mafia voice, it's just going to be standard American. So let me read this in standard American.
Okay.
Here we go. Now, viewers, come a little closer. Please join me at the table. Grab a bowl of my mama's famous spaghetti. I just want to thank you all for being a part of our little family here. Loyalty is very important to us at 2 Gamers 1 Trophy, and we're glad you stuck through to the end. You're part of the circle. Unlike that rat, Jimmy No Shoes. He left midstream, and now I have to send Lauren out to give him a little present at the foot of his bed. But not all of you viewers know you'd never need to learn a lesson like that, and that's why you're in the circle. Lauren. Ooh, I lost my train of thought there. And that's why you're going to do whatever Lauren asks of you when she tells you how to follow us in the gaming world. Isn't that right, Lauren?
That's right. You can watch all of the, oh wait. Yeah, so that was it. You can watch all of the 2 episodes, 1 gamer, that catalog at YouTube. Just look up 2 Gamers 1 Trophy. That's the numeral 2 and the numeral 1. I feel like you left out the part that we tell us who we are on the PlayStation Network, though.
Oh, then let's. I feel like you're talking up the chain there, Lauren. I'm not sure that's how we do it in the mob.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I'll let it pass. You're a good lieutenant.
All right,
I'm Tony.
all right.
Paradox. P-A-I-R-O-D-O-C-S. And who are you, our expert game player?
I am Lauren, which is Caustic Sofa on the PlayStation Network.
And that's it for this episode. I should point out today is not Thursday, which is not our normal recording time. We had a little bit of a... I had some things I had to do on Thursday, so we did it on Friday. We do try and get these games out because we don't want to get too much of a backlog.
Yes.
We will be back next Thursday. We haven't chosen the game yet, but it's going to be something from the August PS Plus download titles. So keep an eye out for that.
Dude, look at me rock this. Look at me rock this.
You're killing it now.
These people are they don't know what's hitting them. They're like, who's this bitch?
Dad, stop him!
Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
You know, because in a bunch of alternate universes where you died a whole bunch of times, they were not so much saying that.
Oh my god. I jumped over the fence and then I died before the car could get to
What?
me.
What? That's terrible.
It's
Oh my
awful.
Gosh. Well, I think that's a good way to leave it, right there with your death. That takes 50 minutes for them to recognize that you died.
I know. Terrible.
Sorry, this one was a thumbs down with a.
Yeah, it's alright.
We'll see what next time brings.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Thanks for
So-
joining us, everybody.
Yeah, we will see you next week on 2 Gamers, 1 Trophy.